The Housing, Urban Development, and Zoning Committee will now be called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis,
Present.
Alderman Cone, Alderman Coder,
Here.
Alderwoman Boyd, Alderman Muhammad, Alderwoman Martin,
Present.
Alderman Narayan, Alderwoman Evans,
Present.
Chairman Boyd,
Present.
President Reed,
Here.
Alderman Cone, Alderwoman Boyd, Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Narayan.
Present.
7 present, you have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I move for approval of the minutes dated June 29th, 2021.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Cone, Alderman Coder,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd, Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin,
Aye.
Alderman Narayan,
Aye.
Alderwoman Evans,
Aye.
Chairman Boyd,
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye.
8 aye votes.
Okay, by your vote, you've adopted the minutes for June 29th, 2021. Board bills for review today is Board Bill number 2. What's on the agenda is number 263 and 63. Alderman Muhammad, it's my understanding that you might want to hold Board Bill 63. Is that correct?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Have we met all the legal requirements for Board Bill 63? I was advised that it may be a hiccup with Board Bill 63.
No, sir. I don't know what would give you that impression, sir.
The clerk informed me that the legal counsel informed him that we did not meet some posting requirements. And therefore, we should hold the bill. I think someone was trying to get a hold of you about that. I take it they did not?
No, sir, they did not. I would like to know whatever legal ramifications that we did not take as relates to Board Bill 63. I'm at a loss.
Okay.
It was approved. It was approved by the Planning Commission.
Okay.
Can
so
we get our legal counsel on the phone?
So let me back up. So what's before the committee right now is Board Bill number 63. That is before the committee, okay? So we're asking for legal counsel and Lou Gali to weigh in on the technicalities that was presented earlier. Is he available?
I am, Alderman. I just got on the meeting. I didn't hear the full question. I
Okay.
was in touch with the city councilor's office, who works with LCRA, and there are notice requirements under state statute that were not met prior to this bill being put on the calendar.
Okay. So it's the opinion of the city council's office that we have not met statutory requirements, and therefore we're going to hold the bill. We'll come back to it at another date.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry. I would need that in writing. I need that in writing from the city council, from an official opinion that this legislation does not meet the requirements, because I'm at a total loss here. This does not make sense to me. I find this completely perplexing for this to happen at this time. This seems like a petty beef between the mayor's office and myself, honestly, is what it seems like to me. The city council has not reached out to me. He has not shot me an email, a text, a phone call. I have not had any communication with the city council's office. Now, all of a sudden, this board bill is illegal.
Well,
Mr. Chairman, if we don't have this written down, if I don't have a written statement from the city councilor explaining and detailing why this board bill is insufficient, I find it extremely disingenuous and unfair to hold it.
Mr. Golly,
Yes, sir.
you are the lawyer, and I practice law without a license,
I
but
know you do.
I know Chapter 99s are authorized based on state statute. I don't know what all the legal requirements are that need to be met, but certainly want to make sure that we meet those legal requirements. What is your opinion about the city council's opinion?
I just forward you the email from the city councilor's office under section 99430.18 of the Missouri Revised Statute that contains the notice requirement. So I am pulling that up. It says that the governing body of the community shall hold a public hearing on any redevelopment or urban renewal plan or substantial modification thereof recommended by the authority after public notice thereof by publication in a newspaper of general circulation in the community once each week for 2 consecutive weeks. The last publication not to be at least 10 days prior to the date set for the hearing.
Okay. So Alderman Muhammad, do you accept that? Alderman Muhammad.
I don't, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so what I'm going to do as the chairman, I'm going to exercise my authority as chairman to hold the bill. Because I'm not going to put myself in a situation if there are legal opinions and the city council's office, as well as our legal counsel for the Board of Aldermen, is not disputing that. So we can come back to it. We want to help you get your bill passed, but we want to make sure we do it in the proper manner. Okay, so it's not dead. It's just we're gonna hold it for until we do proper notification. We will not be hearing a resolution number 39. We will hear that on Tuesday, July the 6th, at the request of the sponsor. So tonight, we will only be discussing now Board Bill number 2. And tonight is basically public input. That is all we're doing is public input, and then we'll do committee discussion after public input. It was very important to me, since this bill came to us near the last minute, that we do our due diligence as a committee to get as much official public input as possible. The official input comes from the legislative body. While I certainly appreciate all the hard work by the Stimulus Advisory Committee, and I applaud them, and maybe they all deserve a resolution for their efforts because they put a lot of hard work in, and I say that sincerely. But those meetings were not the official meetings of the board of the city of St. Louis. The city of St. Louis has advisory committees. One example is the Forest Park Advisory Committee. Members of the Forest Park Advisory Committee are appointed by the mayor and ratified by the Board of Aldermen, and they therefore act on behalf of the city of St. Louis. So some of their decisions impact how we govern ourselves. It could put us in a lawsuit or get us out of a lawsuit. And so I want to make sure that we do things decent and in order. And everybody that knows me knows that although I can be tough and difficult sometimes, I'm very fair. And I want to do things right. And I don't want to put the city in a situation where we can be sued and tied up in court for years, because that wouldn't be fair and wouldn't help anybody. Also, I want to make it clear that nobody is speaking for or against Board Bill number 2 tonight. People are speaking based on recommendations, because here's what's going to happen. We're going to hear all the recommendations as we've had all the public input. I'm requesting that all of my colleagues, whether you're on the HUD's committee or not, by 5:00 p.m. on Friday, to send the clerk of the Board of Aldermen all your recommendations on what you would like to see in this board bill and what you might want to see out the board bill. Because the train is moving swiftly. I wish I could give more time, but my intentions is to do a committee substitute next week that encompasses the community input that we have heard thus far. And it's extremely important to me that we get in from our colleagues, because one thing I do know, when things happen in the community and people don't know who to turn to, there's a very popular phrase that they use, and it's call your alderman. Why do people say call your alderman? They say call your alderman because your alderman is the one that's in touch with most, not everything, because we're not Superman and Superwoman, but we're in tune with most of the concerns of our constituents. And so that's why it's very critical that we do our public discourse as a legislative body and that our voices are heard on behalf of our constituents, especially our constituents that may not be technologically savvy. They may not have Zoom. They may not have, computers in order to engage us in the way that, some people do. And so I want to tee that up. I want to be very clear with that. So again, nobody's speaking for, nobody's speaking against. People are basically making recommendations. And again, I'm asking all of my colleagues, whether you're on the committee or not, to send recommendations to the clerk of the Board of Aldermen, who will send them to me, and I will send them to the bill sponsor to make sure that we're all on the same page. And we collectively will massage the bill number 2, which is basically a infrastructure bill, not to be confused, but it's just a placeholder right now. And so we're going to come back with the committee substitute, which has a lot of recommendations. And I would hope and think that the mayor's office will, be pretty satisfied with the outcomes, because it is my desire to be as close to 100% of the recommendations by the Stimulus Advisory Committee as possible. But every alderman on the committee has a voice and they have a vote. And so that matters. With that said, we're going to now move into the public input phase. And I'm going to start with Ms. Crenshaw by phone. Is Ms. Crenshaw on here by phone? She waited so long the first time we had a meeting that she kind of had to get off. So I wanted to kind of start with her first because she's a elderly constituent and I don't want to have her on the phone for hours if we don't need to. Okay, I don't see her, but I will come back to her. Okay, next up is Alan Durker.
Hey, you got my name right.
Okay, so Alan, here's the ground rules from the chairman of HUBS. And anybody that don't like them, hey, I'm sorry about that, but it's part of the rules. You must state your name. If you're speaking on as an individual, your actual address. Okay. If you're speaking on behalf of a business, then you state your business address. We got it?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, Mr. Durker. Go.
Okay. My name is Alan William Durker and my address is 5401 Holly Hills. I am also speaking on behalf of the Cornerstone Center for Early Learning at 3901 Russell. So I kind of have input from both angles here. And kind of what I really wanted to push for today is to just, guys, keep in mind, this is my first time ever putting information to the Board of Aldermen, so thank you. But I really wanted to just have you all keep in mind that don't keep the same city government thinking that we have for the last 90 years, where we do things, 3 months out and don't think about things 50 years out. It's $500 million. Spend it wisely, please. So like the 3 kind of big things that I would really like to see the city get out of this. I myself am a CPA, and even though I do work in St. Louis County, I do know that doing business in the city is not exactly easy. And I would really like for you guys to put some thought into how can we streamline city government? How can we make the licensing and permitting process much easier on everyone? Even down to the point of, real estate assessments or personal property tax assessments. I mean, we've been doing things for the same way for the last 40 years on paper forms in 5 different colors. And I know there's easier way to do things. So, spending a little bit of money up front to make things easier on everyone would, give a lot more time to city staff. It would give a lot more time to constituents, and it would make the city a better place to live. Just as the treasurer of the Cornerstone Center for Early Learning, I also wanted to just kind of speak to the cost of early childhood education right now, and that there is kind of a state subsidy cliff. If there is any way that any funding could be pushed to any of the city early childhood centers. I know a lot of parents are out there struggling right now to even find spots or to even afford early childhood education right now. I mean, just think of the cost. A child from birth to age 3 could cost 20 grand a year just to pay for preschool. So
30
it's not
seconds.
exactly a cheap thing. All right, well, thank you for your time, everyone. Hopefully you come out with some good ideas here.
Thank you, Mr. Durker. Really appreciate you being in attendance and sharing your opinion because it does matter. Thanks again. Okay, I am told that Ms. Crenshaw is needs to move from the attendee to a panelist list. I want to go back to Ms. Crenshaw. So STL TV, if you can bring her up.
I believe I moved her over, Chairman. This is.
Okay, Ms. Crenshaw, can you hear us?
Hello?
Ms. Crenshaw,
Hello?
okay, yes.
This
Can
is-
you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Ms. Crenshaw, so what we want you to do is we want you to state your full name, your address, and give us your recommendations. You have 3
Okay.
minutes, okay?
All right. My name is Ann S. Crenshaw. I'm at 8727 Northcrest Lane, zip code 63147. What I would like to see done in our community, and first of all, and that is to be able for the citizens to be able to breathe, to be able to live. Without police presence in our community, that's not going to be able to happen. On all levels, we need police to stop these people from speeding. We need police to put down the laws of the people that are speeding. We cannot do it. The people cannot go out here and police their communities. We need the police. We're staying in our homes. When we go out, we're afraid. That's just not acceptable. We need police presence in our community. I don't care how much money you put into infrastructure or whatever have you. If the citizens do not feel safe and want to live here in this city, we can forget about it. So with this money, and we have enough money, we must have police presence in our community, and these laws must be enforced. You're going to see more people continually moving out of the city of St. Louis, and not only out of the city, out of St. Louis, Missouri, period. Our tax dollars are so badly misrepresented in this city, and it's been like this for years and years, and we just can't keep on going on like this. It's impossible for us to keep going on. Seeing our schools closed, the homeless on every corner, nothing being done about that, putting homeless people on the inside of our communities, that's bringing our property value down. I mean, it's the whole 9 yards, and you all know that. You know it. That's what you ran on. You ran on stopping things like this, but you're not stopping it. And you're down there fighting and going on amongst each other, a power struggle for the money that's out there. We need you all to come together and represent the people. And it's a must that you do it.
Yes, ma'am.
And I thank you so much for your time.
You're more than welcome. We appreciate you speaking up, Ms. Crenshaw. And I believe that you speak loudly for a lot of people that live in neighborhoods that look like yours. Again, thank you very much. We really appreciate you being in attendance tonight.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Tony Fitzgibbon. Tony Fitzgibbon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As you said, my name is Tony Fitzgibbon. My address is 8015 Teasdale, 63130. I'm the co-chair of the Common Sense Gun Solutions Committee of the Women's Voices Raised for Social Justice organization. And I'm asking for funding for our Lock It for Love program. Since the COVID pandemic began, firearm sales shot up 64% in 2020. And unfortunately, firearms deaths and injuries of children also rose dramatically during the pandemic, nationwide and in St. Louis. St. Louis Children's and Cardinal Glennon hospitals reported treating record numbers of children for gunshot wounds during COVID. Last year, Children's Hospital treated 150 kids for severe gunshot wounds, its busiest year ever, far beyond the previous record high of 97 in 2008. And combined with Glennon Hospital's numbers, a child in St. Louis was injured by gun violence almost every day. About 1/3 of gun injuries are accidental shootings when children get access to a loaded, unlocked firearm, usually in their homes. A national study reported that at least 1/3 of accidental shootings and suicides could have been prevented if firearms were stored safely, as recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics. But studies show that in more than half of American households with children, there are unlocked guns. To address this problem, the Women's Voices group provides the Lock It for Love gun safety program, which has distributed nearly 9,000 free gun locks since 2015, primarily in the 17 St. Louis zip codes where children are at highest risk of gun violence. Free locks have been distributed at more than 200 community events, including many sponsored by the City Health Department and 3 gun locks giveaways at City Hall over the years. And on April 13th, we kicked off a partnership with the St. Louis City Fire Department, which is distributing our gun safety information and free gun locks at all 30 fire stations. And I want to acknowledge that President Reed fostered this program. Other partners distributing our locks include the Urban League, YWCA Head Start, and 4 St. Louis Public Library branches. We note that one of the purposes of the stimulus funds is to respond to the public health threat posed by COVID-19. And since St. Louis children's hospitals have seen major increases in patients suffering from gun injuries during COVID, it's more urgent than ever that families receive life-saving information about safe gun storage. And studies show that when free gun locks are provided, compliance with safe gun storage increases significantly.
30 seconds.
The Lock It for Love program relies solely on grants and contribution. We're asking for $50,000, which would fund Lock It for Love for 2 years. Just if I can quote Chief Jenkerson's remarks when we had our partnership with him, with the fire department, he said that using gun locks is a preventative measure in the same way that the fire department is trying to prevent fires, and that we can't continue to see children injured by these senseless shootings. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time. I failed to follow a rule. I'm supposed to swear people in. So I will get back on track. So I thank my colleague for the note. Again, I want to thank you, Ms. Fitzgibbon, for your input, and we will definitely take it under advisement. And thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you.
Next up is, I hope I don't mess this up, Daniela Blue. Boo.
Daniela Boulay, thank you.
Boulay?
Boulay, yes.
Boulay, okay.
Yes.
Okay, Miss Boulay, do you promise and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before the HUD's committee tonight?
Yes.
Okay, do you understand the rules? Name, address.
Yes, my name is Daniela Boulay. The address is 4935 Filer. I'm here representing a group called Tent Mission STL.
Continue.
Okay. I'm a coordinator with Tent Mission STL, and we're a volunteer organization doing street outreach to unhoused people. We bring them hot meals, survival supplies, sort of everything that they need to, anything we can get our hands on that they would need to survive outside. And I'm actually out right now doing outreach. We're about to pass out, tons of meals, lots of supplies, and we do this multiple times a week. And I want to be very clear, sort of what we're seeing out on the streets. there are new people out here every single week. We are seeing new faces. We're hearing stories of evictions, which are still happening despite these moratoriums. And I am terrified to see what is going to actually happen once these moratoriums are up and people start to flood the streets with nowhere to go. And so I see a proposal from the mayor which provides significant support toward getting ahead of this sort of inevitable reality. A proposal which takes into account what is happening on the streets, because there was significant collaboration within the community on this proposal between the community and the mayor's office. And then I see the members of this committee and this proposed bill, which to me as an observer, I'm seeing seemingly no interest in working with the mayor, and instead trying to discredit the existing proposal at every turn, just perpetually delaying it. The bill we are sort of here looking at doesn't even have allocations, like money allocations assigned for this funding. There's just X's in whatever is sort of posted online. There's just X's where numbers are supposed to be. And the existing proposal does actually have allocations proposed due to the extensive research and community collaboration that went into it. So I don't know what the motivations are for certain members of this committee, but I've just been watching what is happening, and it is abundantly clear that the primary motivation here is not actually helping the people. You're playing politics with people's lives. And I don't know if the members of this committee realize that people will die as a result of these evictions. Just point blank. Every day that this money and these resources are not deployed to those that need it is a day when thousands of people are unnecessarily suffering because you all are delaying this. And I'm not allotted much time here, but I'm happy to take any questions and give you specifics of what we're seeing. The main point here is that, you know, this has zero to do with you all being bullied into this. I know some members have said that they feel they are being bullied into this. I'm saying you're not doing your jobs. You're ignoring the needs of your constituents and are getting in the way of actual help. And I'd be happy to take any questions or follow up. He cut me off.
Thank you. Let me just say something real quick. There's a difference between a proposal for everybody listening. There's a difference between a proposal and a board bill. And so I think there's a lot of confusion out there. And we don't legislate off just proposals. We have to legislate off board bills. So I want to clear that up, because board bill number 2 that's out there in the universe is just a shell bill that will be filled in with a lot of recommendations from people across the city. So there's no intention to not support any recommendations that any group of persons may have worked on. So I just want to make that clear. Moving right along. And thank you again, Ms. Boulay. Next up is Mr. Adam Shaw.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Gotcha, I can hear you. Mr. Shaw, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before the HUD's committee this evening?
Yes, I do.
Okay, do you understand the grounds rules?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, you have 3 minutes.
Hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Adam Shaw. I'm a resident of the 24th Ward at 7129 Piccadilly Avenue. It's a pleasure to see my alderman here present today. Nice to see you, Alderman Narayan. And I'd like to thank you guys for allowing me to comment on Board Bill 2. I think these hearings for committee meetings are a huge step in the right direction for accountability and transparency in St. Louis. And so my comments should be quite brief. I know the chair said just a second ago that there won't be any discussion for or against this bill. I take a bit of issue with that, because dissent ought to be part of the discourse, and to suppress any dissent seems deeply undemocratic to me. It's also inconsistent with the discussion I had with the clerk via email as I was scheduling my testimony today, where I was expected to state whether or not I supported the bill.
I'm sorry, let me stop you real quick, Mr. Shaw. If you want to say, that's fine. I was just trying to clarify what was going on. But if you want to say for the record that you are against it, you're more than welcome. I do not want to take your privilege away.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Just a few days ago on June 25th, our Congresswoman Cori Bush sent a letter to the Board of Aldermen urging them to pass the mayor's budget. And I'm here today to make the same request. As I'm sure everyone here is aware, the Board of Estimation and Apportionment approved of the mayor's 2022 budget in late April and sent it to the Board of Aldermen. This budget has been discussed publicly at length in multiple meetings under the guidance of the Stimulus Advisory Board. I understand that's a different body and is not sort of an official body, but President Reed was invited to be a member of that body and agreed to be. There's also been an overwhelming amount of public testimony on budget priorities for these American Recovery Act funds, including over 2,500 surveys submitted by members of the community. This budget could have and should have been passed by now. I know there's some dispute over who took too long or didn't take long enough, but there doesn't seem to be nearly enough urgency. And I think the fact that this hasn't been passed now to provide critical aid to people of St. Louis is demonstrative of President Reed's lack of participation in the Stimulus Advisory Board and lack of urgency in getting that aid to people of St. Louis. So please pass the mayor's budget
30 seconds.
hastily. Thank you. I'm finished.
You're welcome, and thank you for the participation. It's greatly appreciated. Next up is Reverend Darrell Gray.
Thank you very much to the chairperson. I know I spoke last week as a private citizen, and I don't know where my picture went, but I still hope you can hear my voice.
We can. And Miss Reverend Gray. So
do I swear to
tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before the HUS committee this evening?
Yes, I certainly do. Today, I am representing an organization, Mr. Chairperson, the Missouri Faith Leadership Council. The Reverend Dr. Lyndon Bowie is the president. The address, official address is 910 North Newstead Avenue, St. Louis 63108. For the record, I am the political advisor for the St. Louis Metropolitan Clergy Coalition, the chair of community engagement for the Baptist Ministers Union of St. Louis, and the associate pastor of the Greater Fairfax Missionary Baptist Church. I hold a bachelor's degree in political science and public administration, a master's in religious studies. I'm a 2-year intern with the National Conference of Black Mayors. So I want to make it very clear that even though I'm a pastor, I am very clear about the process and the separation of the executive branch and the legislative branch. And for those who think that all ministers do is pray and preach on Sunday, that's an insult at the very least. Many of our pastors, in addition to being pastors, hold dual jobs, and many of them have varied professional degrees. And so we are learned, we are educated, and we are intelligent. That being said, Mr. Chair, the Missouri Faith Leadership Council would like to go on record asking this committee to consider making a committee substitute to support the mayor's recommendation in its entirety as you discuss Board Bill 2. I'm not here to go against Board Bill 2. I'm here in support of adding and incorporating the mayor's budget in that. I said at the last meeting, Mr. Chair, that it is regretful that the clergy were not involved in any significant input with the advisory committee. And we have been assured by the mayor's chief of staff, members of the board, and aldermen, particularly Alderman John Collins Muhammad, that the clergy will be involved and engaged and included moving forward. We believe, just as you do, Mr. Chairperson, that when people in the community are in dire need, yes, they indeed call their aldermen, but more call their clergy. They call their pastors when they are in dire need. And we hear that response. And we're here to say that this is urgent. We understand the process, but we also believe that there is a way to expedite this. And I'm so glad and encouraged
30 seconds.
By what you said in the beginning, Mr. Chairperson, that you and this committee are looking favorably at supporting the mayor's proposal. And we're looking forward to meeting with President Reed as soon as possible. We asked for a meeting today. He was not available, and to meet with the mayor to further discuss his clergy leadership, this board bill and the minister's proposal. And I don't know why you don't see my face. There we go. That was my mistake. I do apologize, but here I am. And thank you very much, Alderwoman Boyd, for making me look down to make sure that I was doing the right thing. God bless you all.
A smile at the end. Thank you, there, Reverend Gray.
There you go. I smiled
Thank
all
you.
the way through. I smiled all the way through. Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do for the city of St. Louis. I know there are a lot of unselfish acts that go on in your world, so I appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Mr. Chair. We look forward
Next
to working with you, sir.
You're welcome. Next up is Anna Ginsburg. Anna Ginsburg.
Hello, Alderman Boyd. My name is Anna Ginsburg. I live.
Hold on, Anna. Hold on. First of all, it's good to see you. Anna Ginsburg is a longtime employee with the city of St. Louis. Did a lot of good work in the dismantling racism community. Somebody I consider a friend. So with that, Anna, do you swear and affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before the HUD's committee?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think you got the rules down. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Alderman Boyd. My name is Anna Ginsburg. I live at 7020 Stanley Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri. My excellent alderman is Brett Narayan. And I have some testimony about this bill. I am here on behalf of the Anti-Racism Organizing Committee at the request of Action St. Louis. And I understand that there's been some issues in introducing this bill. You know, we hear on the news that the economy is growing and things are improving. What we don't hear is that there's a whole lot of economic and emotional pain among people, especially poor people who are disproportionately BIPOC. People have lost friends and family members. Sadly, there's nothing that we can do to bring these people back. But people are also caring for newly disabled family members who have not fully recovered from COVID. They have lost jobs. They've lost places to live, and many more will lose places to live when the current eviction ban, which by the way does not cover everybody, is lifted. Businesses have closed down. Unvaccinated people are still getting sick. People are dealing with mental health problems from a year of isolation. This bill would address all of these things. Please pass this bill out to the whole board. It needs to be in place for these problems to be addressed as soon as the funds are available. That is my testimony. Thank you very much.
And thank you. How's retirement?
Retirement is a little crazy, but good.
Okay, good to see you. Thank you so much for all your service to the city too.
Thank you.
Next up is Reverend Roderick Burton, Pastor Burton. You promise to swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth before the HUD's committee?
I do.
Okay, you understand the ground rules?
Yes, sir.
All right, you have 3 minutes, sir.
Yeah, just want to greet you, Chairman Boyd, as well as our Alderwoman Pam Boyd. Also, greetings to all of the alder persons on the call, as well as the president. I'm speaking on behalf of 5939 Goodfellow Boulevard, 63147. That would be the new Northside Child Development Center. And so one of the under acknowledged and essential industries that has been impacted by the crisis has been the childcare industry. It's been underrepresented for resources, and so I would recommend to sustain, because these centers are essential to workers returning back to work. So if the workers don't have anywhere for their children to go because some have closed their doors, it's a problem. So I would just ask that it will be reviewed, that necessary funds be set aside for our child care centers. Many of them are not of the size and scope of ours, which, although we've taken some serious hits, we were able to weather the storm. But many are basically entrepreneurships, women-run businesses, and they've really taken a hit. Many have closed down. So I would hope and pray that you all are generous and you are wise in allocating resources for the child care industry. Thank you all very much. And I hope you all have a great day.
And thank you, Pastor. And thank you for all you do. I know you do a lot of hard work in the community too, always grinding. So thanks again. Okay, next up is Nicole Lynch. Nicole Lynch.
Hi, I'm here.
Okay. Ms. Lynch, do you promise to swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before the
I
HUD's
do.
committee?
I do.
Okay, you have 3 minutes.
Great. My name is Nicole Lynch. I am here today representing Voice. We are a nonprofit and contracted service provider through the area agencies, the St. Louis Area Agencies on Aging. I just wanted to give you guys a look into like nursing home residents and what they're experiencing right now. Voice is a provider of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman program. We provide advocacy services to residents living in nursing homes who are too afraid or unable to speak up for themselves. In the city of St. Louis, we provide services to 3,500 residents living among the city's 46 facilities. Before COVID-19 even hit in these facilities, the residents were already some of the most vulnerable adults. They experienced physical and mental health concerns, declined cognitive abilities, and social isolation. The population has little contact with the outside world, and they rely on facility caregivers to meet their basic needs, leaving residents highly susceptible to abuse, neglect, illness, hospitalizations, and a myriad of other medical complications. The reality is that nursing homes were just ill-equipped to stop the spread of the virus, and as a result, we lost nearly 4,000 nursing home residents in Missouri. And it is estimated that for every 2 resident deaths, COVID-related resident deaths, there's another resident who died from abuse, neglect, and isolation. While the pandemic undoubtedly affected every nursing home across the country, it has disproportionately affected communities of color. A Washington Post analysis of data found that there are more than 20%, COVID-19 death rate was more than 20% higher in majority Black nursing homes compared to majority white facilities. And that does not stop with the residents. The Kaiser Foundation found that about 1 in 4 long-term care workers in the United States are Black, and that's compared to about 12% of all workers nationwide. So nursing homes right now are simply not a safe place to live and not a safe place to work. The survivors of nursing homes did not come out unscathed. For nearly a year, they've been locked in their rooms, and they have forced into severe isolation as they sat by watching their friends, roommates, and staff die of the virus. The trauma of living in a nursing home during COVID-19 is simply a lot to handle, and we are seeing depression and anxiety and other mental health concerns on the rise. In addition, some residents experience cognitive decline due to the lack of stimulation engagement during this time. They've lost essential functions such as memory, impulse control, task initiation, and more. And other residents continue to face the dark reality of a long-term care staffing crisis. According to the AARP Public Policy Institute, over 23% of facilities
30
are
seconds.
experiencing direct worker shortage. In Missouri, we are ranked number 51 in the nation, the bottom of the list for the number of care hours that we provide per resident per day. And residents are simply at risk right now to abuse, neglect, and other sorts of tragedies that are going on in nursing homes. So while you guys are considering allocating these funds, we really hope that you remember these nursing home residents and all of the service providers that are providing services to older adults in the city. Thank you.
I didn't ask anybody else any questions, but I want to take liberty because I want to make sure I'm following you, Ms. Lynch. So what exactly is your recommendation? How can we help the nursing homes?
Well, we are, like I said, we provide services through the St. Louis Area Agencies on Aging. So funding through there will come down, will trickle down through Voice. And then we can, and with more funding, we can send ombudsmen into nursing homes. The more funding we have, the more ombudsmen we can have.
Got you. Thank you for clearing that up for me. I appreciate your time and all that you do to help our elderly populations. Greatly appreciated. Okay, we have one last speaker and then we're going to go to the president. Mr. Jeff Mazur. Jeff Mazur or Mazur? M-A-Z-U-R. M-A-Z-U-R. on behalf of Launch Code Foundation?
He's here. It looks like he's on mute, though.
Do I have to unmute myself? There we
Oh,
are.
there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's Jeff Mazer.
You made us wait all this time and you were there the whole time.
I've been here.
Okay. Mr. Mazer, do you promise to swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth for the HUS committee?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
All right. You understand the rule?
I do indeed.
All right. You got 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, members of the committee, thanks for having me with you today. My name is Jeff Mazer. I'm Executive Director of the Launch Code Foundation. We're a 501c3 nonprofit that builds the workforce by providing free job training and placement in technology. And it's pretty well established at this point that a key barrier to economic growth in our region is the need for a more highly skilled technology workforce. The community college's annual State of the Workforce report tells us that every year. Very recently, the STL 2030 Jobs Plan reinforced the same thing. And we also know that a huge portion of bright, talented St. Louisans don't have access to skill building programs that can get them into those technology careers. So we're recommending and proposing an investment of $450,000 to fund 3 classes that would train 90 St. Louisans for software development or data engineering jobs. These are high growth, high demand careers that are much in demand among employers here in St. Louis. And we propose recruiting learners for those programs from Promise Zone census blocks and from demographic groups that are historically underrepresented in the technology field. Launch Code's programs over our 8-year history have proven to prepare people quickly and cheaply for careers whose average starting annual salary in 2020 was about $59,000 a year. So we really believe that a small investment of American Recovery Act funds in expanding these programs among a target universe can create a really big impact on people's lives and on the regional economy. I've shared this request in writing for the written record with Mr. Kennedy, and I'd humbly ask the committee's support for our request. And I, again, appreciate the forum today. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And I want to say I have heard a lot of great stories about people who have attended your class at Launch Code. So I definitely applaud you for all the work that you do. And you're right on the money about people needing these skill sets with technology and software development. That's the new wave of the future. While some don't want to be plumbers and pipe fitters, which get paid a lot of good money, you know, soft skills are always well paid. They're well paid too. So again, thank you for your input and thank you for what you do for our community.
My pleasure. Thanks again.
Okay, Madam Clerk, I want you to confirm that I have exhausted the speakers list. Didn't leave anybody out?
You did an amazing job, Chairman Boyd.
Thank you. So that will close public input and public comment on Board Bill number 2. So all further discussions will be germane to committee members. Mr. President, it's on you.
I really don't have anything. I just want to thank all the speakers. We had some organizations here tonight, like Launch Code with Jeff and these guys. You're just doing amazing work. Reverend Burton and some others, just amazing work through the city of St. Louis, and it's good to hear from them and to see how some funding put in the right places can go to help transform people's lives. So I appreciate you all taking the time to come out and speak tonight. I just want to underscore again for some people who spoke tonight that didn't get the message or understand it. We're not debating a board bill. Board bill number 2 is a placeholder bill. So when you see dashes and stuff, the numbers aren't supposed to be in it because it is a placeholder bill. It's a template to be filled in. Some of the testimony tonight helps us begin the process of filling that stuff in. The information that the members of the committee, other members of the board, information that all of you will bring to bear from your communities that you represent will help us fill in those blanks. As the chairman has stated, the goal is to have a committee substitute ready to go by Monday, right? For folks on the committee that understand the process, and some of the folks that logged in that understand the process, you understand that Board of Aldermen, we hold public hearings and we move board bills, and then we have to take it to the floor, and there's a legal process we have to follow before a bill can become law. We are moving through it very, very swiftly. It was 45 days was used on the front end by review from the administration. There's nothing we can do about that, but what we can do is just move as swiftly as we can. Stand within the guidelines that we have to stay in within the Board of Aldermen, and assuring that the money is put to work well for the city. So I thank all of you all members of the committee and everybody that showed up to speak tonight. And we're on our way. It looks like we're gonna have a committee substitute sometime next week. Please do not miss an opportunity to weigh in on it. It can make a significant difference. With the small amount of time that we've had, possession of this, I think we've gotten some good comments in to help round things off.
Mr. President, let me ask you a question because there's been a lot of concern from people about if this board bill wasn't passed today, that a lot of horrible things were going to happen. And I know I made the comment that the sky wasn't going to fall, and some people challenged me and said, yeah, it is going to fall. I still stand on the fact that tomorrow everybody's going to wake up and things are going to be okay. They're not going to be perfect because things happen overnight. But I've heard that ENA had approved some extension of some contracts as relate to people dealing with potential evictions. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. They essentially approved the recommendations I made a couple of weeks ago when I pointed out that the comptroller, through her emergency powers, can fix that false claim within 5 minutes. But it's clear that some politics are at foot here. But I think that it's so important that the board just stays focused in delivering a good bill, because it was, again, it's 2 sentences that have to be sent, and they could have done it, a week ago. But they continue to push that false narrative that, hey, the world's going to end, people are going to be thrown out of their apartments. You even heard from one speaker tonight that still has that view because of the false narrative that have been put out there. That's not helping us as a city, right? And at some point, it's going to become fiscally irresponsible and almost malfeasance to put those things out like that and put people in this panic situation just to get your way. It's just not appropriate to do that. So they did adopt the measure today that I told them they could have done.
Well, I certainly salute the Board of ENA for doing that. There are people who are kind of just now getting involved in politics or being really exposed to politics. And I want people to understand that, again, there's no board bill that's perfect. I've been serving for 18 years, and it's not uncommon in order to get 15 votes on a bill, that a colleague may say, well, if you take this out, I can vote for it. Or if you put this in, I can vote for it. That is how the legislative body works. And just as there are no perfect aldermen, we will never in history have a perfect mayor. And so a mayor putting a proposal before the Board of Aldermen with a lot of great recommendations, I applaud that. I mean, it gives us a head start on doing what we need to do. And we're going to do it expeditiously. But again, we have a process that we're entitled to follow. And I would really, ask the public to stop trying to force us to do things because it's counterproductive. You want to work with the legislative body. You don't want to make demands. And, there are some of us that's been doing this for a long time, whereby we actually kind of know what we're doing. Again, we're not perfect, but we want to work in the best interest of the citizens that we all represent. There are 28 aldermen, and we have different groups of constituencies. So whereby Alderman Narayan You know, the Dogtown neighborhood, you know, they may support different type of industries or businesses that my community would not, or my community may support different type of business or industries that his would not. And it would be okay if we created legislation where I listened to him and he listened to me, and then we got a win-win out of it. Because what we don't want to do is have a win-lose. You know, we don't want a winner takes all. We want to be able to do some collaboration and legislation in which everybody can feel like they were a part of the experience and that they got something out of it. Again, it's not to be perfect. And with that, I'm going to go around for public discussion because I teed up some things at the beginning about how I would like, hopefully next week, to move. And I'm going to start in seniority and start the committee dialogue. So that would be Alderwoman Marlene Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do appreciate all of the public input. I actually learned something about an organization that I was not familiar with. And so that's the importance of public hearings, is to help educate us as well. The first thing that I wanted to share very quickly before I asked a question of the president is it is unfortunate that most people have never read the charter of the city of St. Louis to understand who has what responsibility. And the Board of Aldermen is a legislative body, and there is a process that is in place, and that process has to be followed. And that is all that is going on right now. It's not new, it's not different. So hopefully everybody will be on the same page shortly, and we will all be able to work in better concert to move things forward. But there is no one who's anyone's boss. There's no one who tells anybody what to do. The charter of the city directs process and procedure. And no one has the power to do anything any different. So, Mr. President, I wanted to ask you, how soon, if we have an amendment on the actual bill itself, not as far as the different types of programming, but wording in the bill, can we get those to you by Monday as well?
Yes. Friday is our goal, but Monday we'll still have time to get it all incorporated. We need as many good ideas as possible so that we can make an impact on the community. So I advise you all the way up until the last minute of the last day, but you know, certainly as the chairman stated, Friday would be our absolute goal to get them done. But if you all needed the weekend, I'm sure the chairman would allow that. You know.
Okay, I'm going to try to meet your deadline of Friday, but I wanted to make sure Monday wasn't too late. Okay.
All right.
And I really thank everyone for having this number of meetings. It is just imperative that you get as much information as possible. And I think that what we've heard thus far has supported some of the recommendations that has come from the mayor's office. So it helps. And I thank all of you all for all that you've done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next up is Alderman Coulter.
No questions, Mr. Chairman. I've sent a couple comments over to President Reed and the clerk while we were sitting here. So looking forward to getting this finalized and getting something passed before we go on break.
All righty. Thank you. Alderwoman Pam Boyd, Chairman of Parks and Environmental.
You know what? No, I don't have any questions. I just know that we're on a time limit, and somebody had put in the chat, don't play the politics. Well, I hate to tell you, that's what it's all about. And so we're trying to ensure that we are serving the residents that elected us in the office. So we are trying to complete this project and get it done so we can be ready for the new year. So I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Muhammad. Seems like he's on mute. Alderwoman Martin.
I don't have any comments. I just want to thank everyone for coming and giving input. I know we all appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome. Alderman Narayan, I know you have a lot to say. You had a constituent on this call. I think you had two of them on the call.
I did. So first I want to thank them for showing up and making their voices heard. You know, it's an important part of the process. I think we all know that we need to move expeditiously here and get this thing across the finish line before we go on break, regardless of whether that means we need to do more meetings or anything of that nature. I know that the President Reed has discussed that as well. I think there's a lot of really great stuff in the mayor's proposal, and I hope that the vast majority of that, at least, will make it into Board Bill 2. It sounds like there's not a whole lot of disagreement there. I'd love to see more funding for more tiny houses so that we can get more of our unhoused population under a roof before the winter, hopefully. And then another thing that President Reed and I had spoken about is also making sure that we expand the Wi-Fi. I've spoken to colleagues from across the city, and I've seen it myself and seen people, children, outside of McDonald's doing their homework because they don't have access to the internet at home or in their neighborhood parks. And if we could increase the access to that, I think in a couple of generations, we could turn a lot around if we get people first into houses and then make sure that people have internet access so that they can research things, they can do their homework, they can listen to music, play games, anything to keep kids occupied and give them things to do and increase their academic studies. I'm all for, and I think this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to do things like that. And I hope that we can all set aside any small differences we have between ourselves and make sure that we just get this thing across the finish line. It seems like that's what we're doing. I know that it's the process can be kind of lousy sometimes, but it'd be a whole lot easier if one person could just say, this is the way it's going to work. I know, as long as you're that person, right?
Right.
But here we are trying to get this done. I'm hoping that we can get it done. And with that, I'll yield. Thank you.
I would say this, Alderman Ryan, I do believe there was a couple million in technology infrastructure or Wi-Fi or something. And if you think that that's not enough, by all means, make a recommendation to increase it by a certain amount. I would certainly support you on that. Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Alderwoman Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and all the members that are present at this time. I don't have any questions. I just want to make a comment that I appreciate all of the speakers. They came and spoke before the committee. I myself learned some things this afternoon, and I wish we could just say, okay, you get some money and you get some money and you get some money. And felt a little bit like Oprah Winfrey there, but no, I just hope that we hurry up and get this bill passed so that monies can go out to a lot of these organizations. Yeah. And that's all I have to say, and I yield the floor.
Thank you. I believe the president and I are in an agreement that this bill needs to pass by July the 16th. Yeah. So that is our cutoff date. And I am committed, if we have to have an additional meeting next week, we have a meeting scheduled for the 6th of July. But if we have to have another meeting and another meeting to make this happen, to get this out of committee next week, I am committed to that. Okay. So I don't want people to stress out and think that it's just not going to happen to people just playing politics and this is a game. You have my word as the chairman. My goal, barring anything that's just out of our control, this bill will pass out next week. It's politics, as it was said. Some people will feel very joyed. Some people will feel they didn't get enough. But here's the bright side. There's going to be $500 million. This is just the beginning of spending some money. This is just the beginning. And it will be more than $80 million when we get through next week. I can tell you guys that. It will probably be moving toward 100-something million. Because I have a lot of good ideas, and I hope people perceive them as good ideas. And I'm looking forward to getting good ideas and recommendations from all of my colleagues. Again, this is not just about the HUD's committee. You know, the Board of Aldermen, we are a team. We still have to count to 15 at the end of the day, no matter what committee you serve on. And so it's important to me that my colleagues who are not on the HUD's committee, that their voice is heard. So again, I know the Friday at 5 p.m. is a hard one. But again, I'm willing to have more than one meeting next week to get this out of committee. And with that being said, unless Mr. President, you have something, I'm going to get ready to adjourn to you. Do you have anything?
Just thanks again. Thanks again.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, everybody, I'm going to consider the HUD's Urban and Development and Zoning Committee adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and especially the participants.
Thank you.
Be safe out there.
Yeah.